Good afternoon, folks. This is Carl, your ticker guy, and I have a plea for you. Please pass this video along to everyone you know. This one 10-minute piece needs to go viral and be seen by as many people in America as possible within the next 24 hours. It is critical to the future of our country. If you are a member of the House or the Senate, or if you're just an ordinary American citizen, please head over to tickerform.org, look in breaking news. You will find a topic there at the very top of the list where there is a one-page PDF link to it. A one-page PDF is a imploring entreaty to Congress to stop and think before they act. Public opinion is running anywhere from 100 to 1 to 300 to 1 against this bailout. It must not pass. Non-financial private debt in this country is $32.4 trillion. $14 trillion in household debt. Households lost $400 billion in net worth last quarter. Congress wants to add $700 billion to this tab, and if it would work, I would say okay, but it can't and won't, because the problem is trust, not cash. We have gone from being a net debtor as an American public, that is, we save negative amounts of money of our income, to the largest savings rate in the history of the nation in the space of a few months. People are hoarding, folks, and that's why we have a lockup in the markets. They are hoarding because there is no trust. We started with 3 problems: balance sheet transparency, excessive leverage, and derivatives that are off exchange and nobody can figure out what the exposure is. Those are the 3 roots of the problem, and they need to be addressed. I have a document that addresses those things and gives us a resolution path forward. You can also find that on tickerform.org in the same article where we have this one-page PDF posted. But we've now added to this problem materially. The federal government is responsible for the destruction of trust in our financial system. When Fannie and Freddie were taken out, the preferred stockholders were wiped out as well as the common equity. This is a change. When Bear Stearns was taken down, the common stock was wiped out. Then we had this happen with Fannie and Freddie, and at the time I said you cannot own preferred stock in any financial firm anymore because you never know who's next. The government changes the rules. They come in, they don't put the firm through bankruptcy court, they don't put it through receivership. They by fiat declare these things to be worthless. Well, Thursday night we had something much worse happen. We had Washington Mutual taken over. And in Washington Mutual's case, the entire capital structure of the firm was destroyed intentionally, without recourse, and in violation of the rules that are supposed to govern this stuff, so the firm could be taken out by JP Chase. Folks, I don't know if you understand how serious this is, but this is a direct attack upon the capital structure of every financial firm, every bank, and related company on Wall Street. They will all go down one by one, except for the few favored ones that the New York Fed, the Federal Reserve, and Henry Paulson like. JP Chase is apparently one of them. They saw a $10 rise in their stock price, even though they issued a dilutive stock offering. Why? Because they're one of the favored few. But look at Wachovia Bank, look at Chorus, look at everybody else out there. They're all getting shredded day after day. Wachovia and Chorus, National City, those 3, were just pummeled on Friday, and the reason is the public has figured it out. The investors have figured it out, and foreign capital, worst of all, has figured it out. Folks, we have capital structures in this country and in the way we do business in order to prevent this kind of thing from happening. You have equity at the bottom, that's common stock, then you have preferred stock, then you have various tranches of debt with different places in the capital structure above that. The idea of this is that if the company goes bankrupt, the equity will normally be totally wiped out, the preferred stock may be wiped out, but these upper tranches, these upper levels of equity and debt are protected. Those people's interest is protected by the insulation provided by the people underneath them. When you have a government that comes in and declares that capital structure valueless, and then we're just going to shred the whole thing, throw it in the trash can without judicial review and give it to another firm, what you've done is destroyed trust. And that is at the root of this problem. This $700 billion bailout is going to make it even worse because we're going to have even more trust destroyed, less transparency, less oversight, less accountability. Folks, we can't let this happen. We only get one more shot at this. The reason the credit markets are so dysfunctional, the reason that firms are seeing 30% share price falls in one day, is because nobody believes that the capital structure is sacrosanct anymore. Nobody believes that if you go bankrupt, you'll go in front of a bankruptcy judge. Oh, no, no, no. Now what happens is Hank Paulson comes in, Sheila Bair comes in, their friends at J.P. Morgan come in, and they literally steal your capital out from under you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not understand this fundamental fact, you will never get to the point of understanding what's going on here. What is happening in our capital markets today is a travesty. There are solutions to this problem that involve restoring trust. Honor the capital structure. Fix the balance sheet opacity. Cage the derivatives monster. And fix the leverage problems. We can do all of this. It can be done now. Yes, we are going to go through a recession, even though to this day we are taking these extraordinary steps and our government doesn't even admit that we're in one. We've been in a recession since the fourth quarter of last year, but you won't hear that out of any of our people, not out of Paulson, not out of Bernanke, not out of anybody. Second quarter GDP is positive. We're not in a recession, supposedly. Of course, are those numbers true or are they cooked? Who knows? The government is literally making this up as it goes along. But instead of restoring trust by doing so, it's destroying trust by picking winners and losers. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't stop this, capital flees our shores, we will have a depression. And it will not be because we have gone too far with credit expansion, even though we have. It will not be because there was no solution and we didn't do enough. Oh, no, no, no. That depression, if it comes, ladies and gentlemen, will be a direct consequence of our government's actions over the last 18 months and continuing forward. If this bill is passed, there is a very high probability that you will see an economic dislocation in the coming months. You, the American citizen, are responsible for holding your government accountable and responsible for what it does. You are responsible for going to the polls in less than 2 months. 6 weeks from today, you will choose not only a president, but you will choose to send every one of your representatives back to Congress or not. You will choose to send 1/3 of the senators in this country back to Congress, or you will not. If this bill passes, you must not. A truth that many people do not wish to admit is that less than 10% of the electorate will swing essentially every congressional district in this country, even the ones that are supposedly safe. This bill is the wrong answer. It does not solve the underlying problems. We do need to take action, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot sit on our hands, and I will not suggest that we should or can. But we cannot bail out the system by pouring money at it. We cannot solve a problem that is $30 trillion in size with 10% or more bad. That is over $3 trillion in bad debt with $700 billion. And we also can't print up $3 trillion to make the problem go away. Therefore, we must force those firms that are insolvent into the open, figure out who they are, and resolve them through existing principles in the law. Protecting those people who chose to buy in the higher quality areas of the capital structure, and allowing those people at the lower areas to take the loss that they were paid for via a higher risk-adjusted return. This is our last chance, folks. If this bill passes and becomes law, we will not have the ability to reverse its effects. Please call Congress. Please fax Congress. Tell them, no bailout. Send them a copy of the letter. Talk to them. And for you in Congress, please step back and listen. 165 economists say this is a bad idea. The Weiss Research Institute says this is a bad idea. Dozens of other experts say this is a bad idea. And I say it's a bad idea. Make the right choice for America.